Selamat siang, selamat datang di sesi kita di High Schoolers Webinar Series Digital Leader in Light. Selamat siang Bu Ruth dan Bu Juliana.
Selamat siang Bu.
Bu Juliana sudah bergabung ya Bu ya?
Sudah.
Iya. Sebelum saya memulai sesi pada siang hari ini, izinkan saya untuk memimpin dalam doa. Terima kasih Tuhan buat segala berkat-Mu. Kalau hari ini Tuhan, Kau masih beri kami kehidupan. Sebentar Tuhan, kami akan mengikuti sesi pada siang hari ini. Kau tolong, Kau sendiri yang memimpin jalannya acara ini Tuhan. Kau sendiri yang melancarkan Tuhan semuanya. Kau juga tolong berkati pembicara, supaya apa yang beliau sampaikan Tuhan bisa menjadi berkat buat kami. Terima kasih Tuhan, terima kasih. Kamu serahkan semua dalam tangan-Mu. Ya Tuhan Allah, Tuhan Yesus Kristus, haleluya. Ya, siang hari ini kita akan mendengarkan sesi berjudul Living an International Life dengan pembicara Bu Juliana. Bu Juliana merupakan dosen dari program International Business Management UK Petra. Untuk waktu selanjutnya saya serahkan kepada Bu Juliana.
Oke, makasih Bu Ruth. Oke, sebelumnya saya mengucapkan selamat siang untuk para peserta di sini dan juga untuk tim Humas. Terima kasih karena sudah menyiapkan ini semua ya. Saya nanti di sini nggak sendiri, karena nanti saya juga akan bersama dengan Bu Ruth satunya, Bu Ruth Arigan, yang merupakan kepala program IBM. Nanti kita berdua akan memberikan materi untuk hari ini, di mana saya akan mulai pertama. Jadi saya langsung screen sharing aja. Oke, ini apakah sudah kelihatan?
Sudah, Bu. Cuma belum full screen.
Oke. Oke, apakah sudah full screen?
Sudah, Bu.
Sudah ya.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because this one is a program in international business management. So for all the participants, I will deliver, or we will deliver the material in English. Okay. So today's topic is about living an international life. Okay. So I'll bring the topic about the basics of cultural understanding. But to begin with, we would like to announce that you need to stay tuned, because at the very end of this session, at the very, very end, after Mrs. Ruth's session, we're going to have a small game, okay, to see whether you guys were paying attention from the beginning until the end. And then we are going to pick 3 winners, okay, and each winner will win a voucher from Tokopedia, which is worth 100,000. So I think it is worth it. So please stay tuned, okay? Okay, so what is international life? Okay, I want to do a quick survey first. So I would like you guys to please go to menti.com and then input the following code, which is 44813. This one. Okay, so again, please go to menti.com and then please input the following code, 44813. So it's just a quick survey to figure out what is international life according to you guys. Is it traveling? Is it studying overseas? Or is it working overseas? You can pick up to 2 answers. If you're already in, I think you can directly select your answers. Okay, are you guys able to pick your answers already? We already have 86 participants. Okay, let me refresh. Okay, so we already have a few answers, and then the most of you, or the majority of you, actually chose studying overseas and then also working overseas, with working overseas as the most choice. Okay. Next question. In which country would you like to have an international experience in? You can write down any country that you like. Oh, we have Singapore as the top choice. Okay. So out of 60 something of you guys still prefer Singapore, and then there's Japan and Australia, Korea, China. Okay, so still Singapore is the most famous one. Interesting. Okay, you can see America. There's Paris, Beijing, UK. Kazakhstan, okay, that's very interesting. There's Switzerland, Thailand, New York, Europe. Okay, so based on the 98 of you, the most popular country that you would like to have your international experience in is actually in Singapore. And then the next one is maybe around Japan, China, Australia, also South Korea. Okay, good to know. Okay, so just to confirm with Team Humas, am I already back in my slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool, thank you. Okay, so based on you guys, we all know that most of you guys want to go to Singapore, Korea, Japan, Australia. Regardless of which country that you want to go to, for sure you guys will face cultural differences. Some of the countries might have similarities in culture, maybe like Asian cultures, or neighboring countries, Indonesia will have similar cultures like us, but there will be also other cultures that will be very different. And then with those differences, usually you will face culture shock, okay, because of the differences in culture. So then the next question that you might ask would be, okay, so how can the culture differ? How can we distinguish between one culture to the other? The answer is here. Okay, so one of the ways that we can distinguish culture is through high context and also low context. There are actually many ways to distinguish them, but I think this is like one of the most crucial ones, is the ability to distinguish a culture based on whether they are high context or low context. So what is context? Context is actually a setting or a situation, okay, or an environment. Okay, right now you are in your room, I guess, or your living room. You're watching this Zoom. This is, or your room is actually already the setting, okay? When people communicate, or depending on the culture, sometimes they can rely on high context communication, and then sometimes they can do low. If someone, or if a culture tends to have high context communication, they usually rely on the context, or they rely on the setting to deliver the meaning of their conversation or of their content. While if a culture is more towards low context communication, then usually this sort of culture would usually rely on words to deliver their meaning. So cultures that are of high context, they are very implicit when they talk, while low context cultures, they are very explicit. For example, if someone asks you, hey, do you want this cookie? People of high context culture would usually say, yeah, it's okay, I'll try later. But those people of low context culture, they would directly say, oh, no, thank you. So they are more very explicit, okay? I'll give you an example of high context and low context culture through a story. So there is this Turkish guy. He is a graduate student going to the US for school. And then he is living in a sort of boarding house with an American guy. So this American guy one day went to the bathroom and then he shaved off his head, okay? So he became bald. And then when the Turkish guy went into the bathroom, he went there and then saw the hair. After he saw the hair that is scattered all over in the bathroom, he went to his American friend and then finally said, "Hey, you shaved your head." And then the American guy mentioned, "Yeah, I did." After that, the Turkish guy waited a little and then finally said something else. He said, "I discovered you shaved your head when I went into the bathroom and saw the hair." So the American guy said, "Yeah." So the Turkish guy was very confused because he thought that he already communicated clearly that he wants the American guy to clean the hair, okay? But for the American guy, he only regarded the Turkish guy's statement as just like a mere statement because there wasn't any specific instruction saying that he had to clean the hair. So the Turkish guy was very confused, and then he shared his story to his Turkish friends, and then his Turkish friends said like this, "Hey, you know what? With Americans, you need to be explicit. So you should directly say that, hey, please clean up the bathroom." Okay? So this example here shows that the Turkish guy follows a high context communication culture, while the American follows low context. So again, the Turkish guy has high context because he relies on the dirt on the bathroom, okay? While the American follows low context communication. So without being given a direct explanation, he will not understand, okay? So if let's say you go to Australia, because I saw some of you guys wrote Australia, right? They are also low context people. So if you want to communicate with them, you really need to be explicit, okay? And don't be afraid to offend them because for them, being explicit is very normal. So they won't be offended. I'll give you another example of high context. This time, this one is a story from a Korean linguist, okay? So this Korean linguist gave an illustration between the high context of Korean people, okay? So the illustration is between an employee. The employee is called Mr. Kim, and then his boss, which is a division chief or like a supervisor. In Korean, a supervisor is called kwachang. So the conversation goes like this between Mr. Kim and also Kwachang. So Kwachang said to Mr. Kim, "It's cold and I'm kind of hungry," which means, "Why don't you buy a drink or something to eat?" And then Mr. Kim said or replied, "How about having a glass of liquor?" Which means, "I will buy liquor for you." And then Kwachang replied, "It's okay, don't bother," which actually meant, "I will accept your offer if you repeat it." So Mr. Kim said, "But you must be hungry. How about going out?" Which means, "I insist upon treating you." And then Kwachang mentioned, "Shall I do so?" Which actually meant, "I accept." Okay. So if you look into this conversation, you might think, "Oh my goodness, the Koreans are crazy. Why don't you just say that you're hungry, you know, buy me something to eat?" But it's not the case because Koreans are not low context cultures, but they are high context culture, which means they rely on the situation, okay, for the others to understand what they mean. In this case, the situation is Kwachang is a superior or like a boss, right? And then Mr. Kim is a subordinate. So of course, the subordinate is supposed to understand that he is supposed to get something for the boss. Okay, so this one is an example of a very high context culture. You might be thinking those with low context culture will have a lot of frustration then when they meet people of high context culture. Well, based on the experience of the exchange students who come to Indonesia, the Westerners especially, yes, they are very frustrated because they don't understand what Indonesians are trying to say sometimes because we use also high context. But our high context is not as high context as Korea, okay? Because like if a country is high context, it doesn't mean that they are super high. It can be somewhere in the middle, and then each country will have a different spectrum on the continent, okay? In regards to this, this brings to our next slide, which is about the 4 stages of culture shock by Lehman Varner, okay? So according to them, there are 4 stages of culture shock. The culture shock will depend on how long you are in a country. So for example, if you're about to go to a country, let's say for student exchange or for joint degree, or even for vacation or even for work, usually the first state that you will feel is euphoria. You will feel very excited. It's like, yes, I can't wait to go or embark on this new journey. I'm very excited to explore something new. But then once you arrive and then you start to settle in after a few months in the country, you start to realize, wait a minute, how come the culture is a bit different than my culture? It's so hard to mingle. It's so hard to integrate because there are some things that are a bit different. So when you reach the stage, then you will feel frustrated because it's like, oh, I can't do this. How come everything is very different than the way I do things? But as time goes by and then you start to mingle with the other people and then you start to interact, you will eventually adjust with the culture, okay? So in this case, you will not feel as frustrated as before because you already adjust. And then finally, you would reach the level of integration. So when you reach this level of integration, you feel like you are part of the culture. So let's say if you go to Japan, and then if you have already integrated with the Japanese people, you feel that you are also Japanese. You don't feel the differences anymore. Okay, so if you have already reached that level, it means you have already reached the stage of integration. There's also another thing that happens, which I haven't put on the slide, is actually something called reverse culture shock. So depending on how long you are in another country, you would eventually integrate, right? Once you integrate, and then you have to go back to your home country, you will face something called reverse culture shock, meaning as an Indonesian, when you come back to Indonesia, you will be confused with the culture of Indonesian because you are already accustomed with the culture in Japan, let's say. To be more concrete, one of the cultures in Japan is they are very punctual, super punctual. Like even with the trains, if the train says they will arrive at 11:02, so it means they will arrive at 11:02 exactly, okay? And then because of this punctual time value in Japan, for those of you who have gone to Japan, you will observe that people there like to rush, they like to run to chase time, okay? Different than Indonesia, where like so slow, go with the flow. We don't really chase time, right? Because it's common to be late. So once you've integrated or once you've accustomed to that culture in Japan, where you're always on time, once you go to Indonesia, the reverse culture shock is you'll be frustrated because Indonesians are very late. They are not on time. Okay, so that is the meaning of reverse culture shock. Okay, so to give you a more preview of what culture is like, let's play a quick game in Kahoot. Okay, whether you can guess where the culture is from. Okay, so what I want you to do now is, can you please open Kahoot and then enter the following PIN: 8442629. following culture? In Germany, if you were being invited to a dinner party, which would be the appropriate gift to bring? Is it lilies, roses, chocolates, or perfume? Okay, so based on the results, we see that the majority of you, oh no, there's an equal tie between roses and then also boxes of chocolate, okay? And the correct one is also a box of chocolate, okay? Why is that so? Okay, this is the reason, okay? Did you know that actually in Germany, lilies are for funerals, so you should not bring lilies when you're invited to a dinner party. And then roses are actually for lovers. So if you bring roses to a dinner party, they will question whether you have feelings for them. For perfumes, they are considered too personal, so please do not bring perfumes when you're invited to a dinner party, but chocolates would be the safe thing to bring. Okay, next question. What does this hand gesture mean in Japan? Is it you're crazy? Is it you're dizzy? Is it you're intelligent? Or does it mean go around in circles? Okay, the majority of you say you're crazy, while the correct one is actually you are intelligent, okay? For those who answer you're crazy, I think it is because most of the cultures in the world, we're accustomed that when we want to say someone is crazy, we actually go like this, right? We go clockwise. Okay, we have high score from Nyan. So in Japan, actually, if you want to say that someone is crazy, you need to go anti-clockwise, the other way around. So if you go clockwise, or in bahasa searah jarum jam, you're saying that the person is intelligent. So again, if you want to say someone is crazy, you need to go the other way around. Okay, next question. To most of you, this would be a gesture of okay or good. Now, in which country does this gesture means zero or bad? Is it France? Is it USA? Is it Japan? Or is it Korea? Okay, the majority of you got correct. And the answer is indeed in France. Okay, so in France, this means a zero. So if someone is asking, hey, how's the food? You do not say it's good, because this means actually the food is bad. So you need to be careful with that. Okay, and then another fun fact. In Japan, a similar gesture, but it goes like this, it actually means money. So the same gesture, like this or like this, it can have a variety of meaning throughout the world. Okay, next question. Which of the following countries value punctuality? Okay, the majority of you got it correct. It is indeed the Netherlands, okay? Indonesia is not punctual because we're usually always late, but good for Humas because we are on time today, okay, which is actually very good. Okay, so fun fact, again, so the Netherlands is actually one of the top countries that value punctuality, together with Japan, Korea, Switzerland, and also Germany. So if you go to these 5 countries, they are very on time. If you have an appointment, let's say at 9, do not arrive at 9 or especially 9:10. You should come at least 15 minutes before, okay? Because they value punctuality. Okay, we have FY, CVH, and then also remember or keep in mind that this one is actually not the final game, because the final game would be after Miss Ruth's session. Okay. So moving on. Okay. Most companies nowadays, okay, are actually stressing the importance of CQ, or something called cultural quotient. If we think that IQ or we think that EQ is more important nowadays because of the thinning borders, companies actually try to measure the CQ of someone. So what is actually cultural quotient or cultural intelligence? It actually refers to the ability to relate to culturally diverse situations as well as work effectively in them. Meaning, companies now want employees, or they want people to be able to work with people of different cultures. Companies now want employees to, be able to have awareness, to tolerate differences, okay, and many more. Okay, and then you are able to do all these things if you let go all of your ego and then try to understand that everyone is different. Okay, and finally, it's pretty important to keep in mind that God created each one of us uniquely. Okay, so therefore we need to embrace differences and also love one another. Okay, in Christian teachings, it is mentioned in Romans 12, verse 10, love each other in a way that makes you feel close like brothers and sisters, and give each other more honor than you give yourself. Meaning that because God created each one of us differently, which means we have so many cultures around the world, we still need to care for one another. We need to love one another just like how we love our own family. And then giving each other more honor means like this. You know how Jesus came into the world not to be served, but to serve. So bukan untuk dilayani, melainkan untuk melayani. So we should do the same thing, okay? We need to let go of our own ego, but we need to understand other people as well. We need to understand their culture, be able to communicate well, and that's so everything goes, for the glory of God. And then finally, in John 15, verse 12, God mentioned that love each other as I have loved you. Meaning, despite the differences that we have, the differences in culture, which can create a lot of conflict, we still need to love and care for one another. Okay, so now you might be wondering, okay, so Miss, how does IBM help us to, have an international life? So to understand more of what IBM is like, okay, Miss Ruth will help to explain.
Okay, thank you, Miss Jewel. Yep. So, well, that's very interesting. Apparently, every culture is very different. I think I want to share one. When I work in the UK, everyone comes in the office before 8, and then everyone also leave the office like right after 5. So they are very punctual, even in terms of work. And even if you want to meet your friends, you want to discuss something, you have to book their calendar. So it's not acceptable if you just come over their desk and then ask, hey, can I have like 10 minutes of your time? They will reply with, I don't know, can you check my calendar and then book another time? Because they're also punctual, and they're also like already manage what they want to do on that day. So they will highly expect and also expect you to make appointment. So then you learn while you are there, while you're studying, while you're working, you learn these differences, and then you get frustration, but then you'll adjust. Okay, so then living your international life now. Okay, so I did my undergrad in here in Surabaya in ITS, and then I went to the UK for my MBA. And then there are many adjustments that I had to make while I was there. And then when I entered IBM as a lecturer, I was thinking like, if only I was here, I probably can reduce the errors in terms of culture that I've made during my years in the UK. And then so how does IBM can actually help you adjust if you want to start international life, whether you plan to just studying abroad for a few years or whether you plan to work there, you have to adjust. On some level, you'll have to adjust. Even if you go to a country like Singapore, you have to adjust something, yeah? And then, so then in IBM, I will start first about the experience. Yeah, I'll not talk about curriculum. So you will be with us for 4 years. And then the first year, there will be just academic experience. We will teach you business English course, like speaking skills, writing, and also all the activities in IBM are done in English. It means all, even HIMA and academic projects are all done in English. When you are in T5, that's where IBM is, you are required to speak in English at all times, even in student lounge. Okay, so that happens in year 1. You will have many courses about business English. Okay, in year 2, you can join international excursion study. It's actually part of your tuition fee. So each student will get 7.5 million subsidy to go to a location where they as a batch wanted to go. For example, last year, the students went to Korea. Okay, so each of them who went there will get 7.5 million subsidy, and the rest the students can top up by themselves. Well, you can also choose Singapore as your destination, and 7.5 will probably be enough to do that international excursion. In year 2 as well, if you will still studying with us in IBM, but we will receive incoming students, exchange students from abroad. So you will experience how to study with them in IBM. In the past, we have students from the Netherlands, Taiwan, Korea, and you will be sitting with them and do projects with them in the class. In year 3, you'll do student exchange. So you can do student exchange in your 5th semester or in your 6th semester. Sometimes you can do both. If there are slots, you can do both. But because there are many students competing for these slots, it's not always the case. So there are many destinations in Asia. You probably have seen the screen before we started this Zoominar. There are universities in Japan, Korea, Taiwan, China. South Korea and Taiwan has always been IBM students' favorite place to go for student exchange. We also have some places in Europe, in Germany, and also in Netherlands if you want to go for student exchange there. Student exchange is only 1 semester and it doesn't give you a degree. But if you go for joint degree in year 4, currently we have 2 partners, one in Korea, one in the Netherlands, and we are still working on some partners in Poland, in the UK, but before COVID, of course, we have to delay some things. But these 2 are what we have right now. So you will spend your 7th and 8th semester, you will spend the entire year there. And if you go to the Netherlands, it means you can do internship there. And having graduated from these 2 universities will also grant you a bachelor degree from that university. So you will join 2 graduation. You will join graduation in Korea or in Netherlands, and also graduation in Petra. If you go to the Netherlands, it's not only you will do internship, but you will also have, you will also be eligible to get a working visa. That means you can work there without having the company sponsor you for 1 or 2 years. You can stay there and have a professional experience in the Netherlands. So that's in terms of experience of what IBM can offer you in each year of your study with us. Well, in terms of curriculum, I'll just put curriculum that are so different with other programs. So these are the courses that you will only get in IBM. So the first year, the business English courses, and then in year 2, we'll start learn about courses in international management, international business management, international accounting, and also the presentation that you just saw from Miss Jewel was actually part of her course called Cross-Culture Communication. Okay, in year 3, the courses will be so heavy on international management, in finance, in marketing. You will even get, you will even also learn legal aspect of international business transaction. You will also learn international economics. And year 4, we have courses such as export-import, country competitiveness. This is a course where you can analyze whether you want to go into that country, how competitive is that country, and so on. So if you do business international, you probably have to learn. And then we also have seminar in international business. So in terms of curriculum, these are what we offer you in your 4-year stay with us. Okay, and this one is, okay, this one is some of the picture that our student have. This is Rocky. This is our current student. He went to HKBU. Okay, and these are the friends that he got acquainted with when he was there. And this is our alumni, and I think this is one of I think this is International Day in which you wear costume for your country, and then you also bring the flag of your country. And this picture also from our exchange students. Okay, so when you go to Japan or Korea for exchange students, do not expect just to meet Korean or Japanese. You'll meet international students as well. So it's not only the people, or the people of the country where you go. Okay, this is on the right is our students, current students who are about to graduate. They are now in Netherlands. These are the groups that probably travel. They stay in the Europe and they heavily use their time to travel as well for study because they already graduate. But that's what you can do while you are studying in Europe. You can travel, you can study, you can get a degree, you can do internship, and after that you can work. Okay, so these are the happy faces on the left below here. These are our students and also alumni. Students who are currently studying in the Netherlands, and also our alumni who are now, after studying in Netherlands, choose to stay there and work there. So we even have a student who work in Tesla in Netherlands, at least had an internship in Tesla, and then they work in LG. So there are many international companies that you can also aim when you are studying, and then after that work in the Netherlands. Okay, now, what about the facilities? The first one I want to tell you about the lecturers. These are two Singaporean lecturers that have been with us for, I think Mr. Casey have been more than 10 years, Mr. Goh more than 5 years, and they love our students. They both are Singaporean. Okay, so they are not staying in Indonesia. They work in Singapore. They live in Singapore. They teach in Singapore, and we fly them every week in IBM to teach you guys. Okay, and then we have Bob Stasko. He's our full-time lecturer in IBM. So if you join IBM, you will meet him on a daily basis. He will be the one who teach you business English. And then we also have a panel of Indonesian lecturers, and all of us graduated from overseas university. So you can, at least we have an international experience. Some of us have working experience. Some of us have studying and living experience. And many of our courses, I'll say, are taught by our alumni and also professionals in the field. Okay, so for example, export-import. We invite someone who really is a professional who is really working in that field. So it's not only academics. Okay, and then in terms of the entire curriculum delivery, it's 55% in the classroom, while you can say 45 of them are hands-in project. So you're not only in the classroom. In some of the courses, you will have to do projects, but there will be some courses in which you will have no classroom at all. Okay, you will have to do the project on your own. And one of them will be internship. One of them will be SIB seminar in international business. Okay. Now, some parents are saying, okay, if I'm going to IBM, it means my kid or my son or my daughter will be working for someone else. And I think it's not necessarily bad, but I think it's a choice that every student can make. But I'll say in IBM, okay, in year 1 and year 2, you all will take the same courses. But in year 3 and 4, you can tailor the courses that you want to take to fulfill what you want to do in the future. If you want to be a business professional or a consultant, you will have these courses: business analytics, international management in marketing finance, international economics, and so on. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, these are the courses that you have to take. The first one is entrepreneurship, and you will start working on your project on that 5th semester. After that, you start working on business feasibility study in your 6th semester. In your 7th semester, you will learn research methodology. And in your 8th semester, in the last semester, you will have no classes. You will just do research about your project, about your startup project. And then while in the same time doing the project, so the business must be up and running. And you can do so because you have worked on it for 2 years before semester 8. So you can still tailor what journey do you want to have by studying in IBM. But we heavily focus on international experience. Okay, so we prepare you for international experience, whether you want to be a business professionals, whether you want to be a consultant, or whether you want to be an entrepreneur. So this is my last slide, and these are the companies, sample of them, that have employed our alumni in the past. This first one is not is actually companies or restaurants or consultancy that that were built by our alumni. And then if you aim for working as professionals, these are where our alumni currently works, and this is just a few of them. Okay. And then if you aspire to be a consultant, these are the company where our current alumni work. So we have alumni who is now in Brazil. He works for McKinsey and Company. We also have alumni in Deloitte, in EY, Accenture, and so on. So this is just a few companies inside. So in terms of what Ms. Ju delivering your international life, you can really start from IBM. You can start. We not only prepare you in terms of the experience, but also in terms of academic. Also connect you with the right people by using our alumni, by using our employers that have been employing our alumni. So if you are really serious and you are really you really want to explore the world, either you want to pursue further study, or you aim to work in a global company, or you want to even work overseas, you should consider IBM as part of your journey. Okay. I think that's all from me. And as what Ms. Jul has said in the beginning, we will have a quiz. And then the top 3 winners of the quiz will get 100,000 vouchers from Tokopedia. Okay. So if you can open Kahoot, and I'm going to share the Kahoot now.
Just to add, for the Kahoot, guys, please put down your full name when you write the Kahoot here for the quiz part.
Oh yeah, okay. So thank you for reminding about that. Yeah, so this one, okay. So we will play games, and for this one, make sure to put your real names as shown in your student ID card. Why? Because the winners will need to email their student ID card and their identity, so your name and your phone number, so we can contact you, to fa-ibm@petra.ac.id. fa-ibm@petra.ac.id. So if you are the top 3 winners, you can email us to this email and give us your student ID as well as your name and your phone number. Okay. I hope that's all clear. So we are going to start the Kahoot game. And after the Kahoot game, we can start the Q&A. So these are the Kahoot game. another 2 minutes because there are currently 270 participants.
Sorry, Miss. Maybe you can start the game now because the time is almost over.
Okay, okay. Okay, we'll start then. Low context communication relies on context to deliver the meaning. Is that true or false? Okay, so it's false. It relies on words to deliver the meaning. Next one is a puzzle. You have to put the order of the 4 stages of culture shock. So you have to move the boxes. Well, good. 59 of you got it correct. So, okay, next. The ability to relate to culturally diverse situations as well as work effectively in them is called emotional quotient. Is that true or false? False. It's called cultural quotient. Okay. Next, true or false? In IBM, only academic activities are fully in English. Is that true or false? Activities are in English, not only academic. Okay. So I can start studying abroad by which year? Okay, so year 3, yes, you will start studying abroad when you do student exchange. So it happens in year 3. Okay, so let's see for a while. So Timothy, Stephen, and Merrick are leading. Okay, next question. I will study with international friends starting in which year? It starts it's in year 2 where you will study with incoming student exchange from our partners abroad. Okay, now this is a puzzle where you need to put in order the entrepreneurial journey in IBM. Okay, this one is this one is not easy. Congratulations for those who can answer it correctly. And Chelsea is on fire, and then followed by Timothy, and then Stephen. Okay. Lecturers in IBM are foreigners as well as Indonesian with international experience. That's true or false? Yep, that's true. Okay, and I think this one is the last question. You can select more than one option. Graduated from IBM, I can become a or an. Quite hard if you want to be an engineer, but you can of course be a business professional, consultant, or entrepreneur. Okay, so okay, the portion of classroom and enhanced project in IBM is as follows. Yep, it's 55-45. Oh, so who are in the podium? Congratulations to Feli Juvencia. The second place is Ophelia Astia, and the first place is Chelsea Felinda. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay, so I think we are ready for a Q&A that will be led by Humas.
Okay, thank you, Miss Juliana. Thank you, Miss Ruth Tarigan. And congratulations to all the winners of Kahoot Games. And we're so happy to see the enthusiasm of the audience that already typed their questions. But I'm afraid our time is very, very limited. So maybe I only will discuss one question. And maybe if you still have questions, Ms. Ruth Tarigan, can they contact IBM through the email, the fe_IBM@petra to send the questions?
Yes, of course. It's fe-IBM at petra.ac.id.
IBM.
Yes,
okay.
You can send your questions there. Absolutely.
Okay. if we only discuss one question here, and then the other question that if you still want to know, you can send to fe-ibm@petra.ac.id. Okay, there is one question that we will discuss. It's from Marcel Wiradinata. Afternoon, I would like to ask about the culture crash before. Is it possible to reduce the length of time for the culture crash if we often get exposed to new cultures, like getting used to adapting, the time to adapt would reduce? How about that, Miss Juliana?
Okay, thank you for the question, Marcel. Actually, the more you are exposed to various cultures, it doesn't mean that you will not face culture shock or culture crash. Okay, for sure, in every culture that you go to or every country that you go to, you will definitely face a culture shock eventually, depending on how long you are there. But the more you are exposed to other cultures, the easier it is for you to adjust. So the time it takes from you to go from stage 2 to stage 3, which is from frustration to adjustment, it will be shorter because you will be accustomed to adjusting to the various cultures.
Okay, thank you, Miss Juliana, for the answer. I hope it helps for Marcel. Okay, before we end this session, let me introduce Petra Christian University to all of you. Okay, Petra Christian University was established in 1961. We have several awards that given by the government. Petra Christian University has a vision to be a caring and global university with commitment to Christian values. These values was love, integrity, growth, humility, and truth. We have 31 study program that you can join for the undergraduate degree. And we have the network with more than 90 universities around the world to give you the experience for joining the student exchange, joint degree, and double degree. There are scholarships that you can apply if you want to be the students of Petra Christian University. And after you graduate from Petra Christian University, you will join with 40,000 alumni in several continents in the world. Don't forget to follow the Instagram account of Petra Christian University in UK_Petra. Or you can call us and contact us in the number that you can see on the screen. Well, thank you, Miss Juliana. Thank you, Miss Rutarigan, for the sessions. And thank you for all the students. And congratulations for the 3 of you who get the Tokopedia voucher. You don't forget to email fe-ibm@petra.iac.ad. Thank you. See you next time, and God bless you.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.